Hey guys, today we're going to be going over the Raiden Shogun. Let's just start off by saying, play this game however you want. Play the characters that you enjoy, play the characters that you like. There's nothing in this game, there's no content in this game that requires you to have anything be powerful. You can play everything completely free to play. Alright, that being said, let's jump into it. This is the Shogun's elemental skill. It'll put a 25-second buff on you that every 2 seconds, if you attack and do damage somehow, it will do a electro slash. This buff also gives you extra elemental burst damage, which is really useful for her and many other characters. It will also generate roughly the same amount of elemental particles as Fischl. Her ultimate is quite a bit more complicated, so we're just going to try and go over the big important pieces about it. Probably the most important piece about her ultimate is that as your other characters are spending their elemental burst energy, she's going to be gaining resolve stacks. You'll see this indicated by a circle around your character in the back. It's really hard to miss. The more lit up it is, the more full it is. The higher resolve that she has, she'll do more damage when she uses her ultimate. And she'll gain more resolve from other characters using more expensive ultimates, so 60-80 cost units are going to be your friends. By hitting enemies with her ultimate, she's also going to be regenerating energy for your whole team, and then also there's one big hit at the beginning of her ult. After the first big hit, you can then do additional attacks that will be similar to normal attacks, but they actually scale off of elemental burst damage. Her first passive gives you resolve stacks when your party members gain elemental orbs energy, but the thing is that ultimately this is going to be so slow by comparison that you're just going to be gaining most of your resolve from your other characters spending their elemental burst energy anyway. Her second passive is actually really important for her because you're going to be building her with the new elemental burst damage energy recharge set. You're going to be getting additional energy restoration from her ultimate, but more importantly, you're going to be getting extra electro damage bonus, and this is for every 1% over 100% energy recharge. For reference, my current Shogun is roughly 300% energy recharge, so as you can imagine, that's a fair bit of electro bonus damage. And I won't lie to you, her last passive is complete garbage. You just spend less Mora when you're ascending swords and polearms. So this is the stats of my Shogun for what you're going to see for the majority of this video. Towards the end, I'll show you kind of what she looks like now, and then, some cool stuff that I'm doing with her now that she is C3 instead of C0. But for all the stuff that you're going to be seeing here, she's going to be C0 until I tell you otherwise. And as you can see, that roughly 300% energy recharge kind of translates to 126% electro bonus damage when she's equipped with electro bonus damage cup. So it is a lot, actually. I was lucky enough to get the engulfing lightning pretty quick, so that's what I'm going to be using. It's level 80, but you could also use the deathmatch, or you could use the catch. Is actually a really good weapon for her too, and both those are really free to play friendly. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to be using the Emblem of Severed Fate set because it's going to be giving you that extra bonus damage for your elemental burst. It's really, really important for this character as that's where a lot of her damage is going to be coming from. Energy recharge is extremely important because of the way this set works, but also because of her passive. So just trying to get as much of that as you can along with the crit damage, crit rate like normal. Alright, so now that we've kind of talked about, all the different things you need to know about the Raiden Shogun, let's just kind of talk about how actually good she is. So I've spent a lot of time working with this character, trying different team compositions, trying to figure out how she works, and honestly, she's held back by a lot of things. She doesn't work on shields, as you can see, like the electro isn't popping on the shields, now it's popping on the characters. So that's a big, drawback. She doesn't work with people that we would have thought who would have been her best partners, as in Beidou and the Electro Traveler. Their ultimates don't have any interaction, and it's really, really weird. Hopefully that gets changed, but they haven't said that they're going to change it, so I don't want to include that as part of my evaluation. To make matters even worse, she's Electro, which is quite easily the worst element in the game right now. It doesn't really have any meaningful interactions with any other good element in the game, and overload damage and stuff like that, it just ain't there. So this character, especially at C0, is, to be honest, just trash. And let me be extra clear too, because although I say she's trash, she's not actually a bad character. She just has lots of things holding her back. And because of that, she's really, roughly the same output as Fischl, who's a 4-star character at C0. The problem there is that she's not a 4-star character, she's a 5-star character, and on top of that, she's limited time. So I can't really recommend this character to anyone who's not going to be chasing multiple constellations. And to be honest, if you're chasing multiple constellations, you probably don't need this character anyway, because I'm assuming you probably have other constellations for other characters. That being said, she's really fun, guys. Like, I mean it. She's really, really fun. And I've really, truly enjoyed playing with her to the point where, like, I used to avoid Electro at all costs because I just don't, like, the element's just not good, right? Like, let's just be honest and upfront about it. It's just not good. It's not meta by any stretch of the imagination. Unless you're doing a superconductor comp. Truly, guys, I enjoyed using this character so much, even at C0, that I continued to pull for her and got some of her constellations because I wanted her to be in a more usable state for me in the future. For those of you that are newer around here, you won't know how big of a deal that is. But if you do, hang out on our Twitch channel, Zarnessen over on twitch.tv, you'll know that we don't pull for constellations. We might go for like a C1 here and there, like a C1 Ganyu or a C1 Hu Tao or something, but we don't go for multiple constellations. And we did get lucky, but we did try and chase C2 for this character because it's that big of a deal. Seriously, the C0 versus C2 or C3 is like really night and day difference for how good this character can be. She goes from being roughly the same as a 4-star official to just blowing things up and just doing ridiculous things. I'll show you guys towards the end here. I did a clip where I hit the Geo Vishap for 347,000 damage with the first hit of her ultimate. When I was doing the similar kind of testing originally, I was only hitting for 77k. And yes, there are some team differences there, but when I went back and used the same team, I ended up hitting for 170k. So like roughly 100k difference between having just C0 versus having C3. So when everything's said and done, do you need this character? Absolutely not. Do you need this character with constellations? Absolutely not. 100% you can skip this banner if you want to, but she's fun. She's really fun. If you are interested in pulling for the Shogun, you might get pretty lucky and get some Kujo Saras too. And her C6 is the only thing that makes Kujo Sara valuable, but it's really good for this character. So like what you'll see in a few seconds here when I show you guys the clip of me getting that 347,000 crit, she's in that team providing an extra 60% crit damage to the Shogun, which is crazy good. So here's my Shogun stats with her current build. So this is a maxed out weapon, and then also a little bit of new artifacts, but basically just a little more attack than we had before, pretty much the same energy recharge and stuff like that. And then obviously now she's going to be C3. Alright, so we do this. Right, and then we do this.
Into the wind. Fallen leaves. Adorn my night. Teamwork is dreamwork. Quiver. Inazuma shines eternal.
So for me going forward, I plan to use the Shogun in a lot of my different squads. Yes, she's going to mess up elemental reactions, right? She's going to take away from a melt that I wanted to do or a vaporize that I could have done. Absolutely. Electro is just in a bad spot. But to be honest, she's really fun for me, so I'm going to keep playing her. And she's really good, and I enjoy using her in her C2, C3 state. She's very, very strong. In the future, I'm really looking forward to experimenting with which teams exactly I like her with. I was trying a team here that was, using Kaching for like a double Electro and seeing how I like that. Didn't really catch on, but there's lots of other things like the team that we did the big crit with that could do some cool things. So we'll do some more exploration with this character and then, see what we can find. As for kind of what my thought process is going to be for this character going forward, I'm definitely going to be partnering her with more Animo characters in the future. So like we saw in the big crit clip, she works really well with characters like Kazuha, who can give her that extra, negative 40% electro resist to enemies. So giving her that extra damage and helping her do her big damage is really, I think, what I'm going to try and play around, while also, trying to use her to enable maybe some overload or things like that. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it for us today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I greatly appreciate it. We have been doing all this testing and stuff like that over on our Twitch channel. I mentioned it earlier, just Zarnessen over there on Twitch. And yeah, link is going to be in the description below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry it's a little bit longer than our normal stuff. She's a bit more complicated this time around. It actually took us quite a bit of time to figure out what we've done here. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.